So, as I said, who still don't know us and who is the first time with us, we will just introduce you with the Donau Soja organization, which is independent, non-for-profit, member-based association found in Vienna. It's also, we have really strong regional presence in main soybean growing regions. So we are exactly there where soybean grows. This put us in the heart of soybean supply chains, which means that we are working directly with the farmers, processors, industry, and all value chain actors on the ground. Also, we set up the sustainability standards, Donau Soja and Europe Soya, for non-GM European origin sustainable soy, and the 24 European governments officially endorsed our work by signing the Donau Soja and Europe Soya declarations. Our work is also supported by Austrian Development Agency, which means that our activities are also bringing benefits to the countries outside of the EU, like Ukraine, Serbia, Moldova, and Bosnia. And no matter that EUDR affects and is important for the EU companies, it's also important for the suppliers outside of the EU region, because as part of the EU supply chain, they would also need to meet EUDR requirements. We can go to the next slide. So the figure speaks for himself. So today our network includes around 340 members from 34 European countries. We are working together with almost 1,000 certified partners and 10,000 farmers in our system, which we make together around 10% of total European soy production certified according to our standards. So as I said, we bring together farmers, industry, society, and governments together to make European protein agri-food systems more resilient, transparent, and sustainable, but also compliant with new regulations and market trends. So EUDR is a maybe new regulation, but for Donau Soja, there is nothing new in developing a transparent, deforestation and conversion-free non-GM supply chains in Europe, and we are doing exactly this for almost now 15 years. So this is exactly why we create a full package for EUDR compliance, knowing the challenges and pain points that EU brings to the soybean sector. Together with our members and our partners, we developed the Crop Insight software, which is end-to-end solution that help you to collect geodata, do all deforestation risk detections, and generate due diligence statement straightforward to the EUDR traces. But also what sets us apart is not just the software, it's our deep knowledge and understanding of soybean market and soybean supply chains. So this is why our experts are helping you to really implement the EUDR requirements into your daily operations by our guidance and advisory support. We are also a member of EUDR expert group of European Commission and really working closely with EUDR competent authorities, trying to find the best solution for European farmers and companies. I would also use this opportunity, and this is my last introduction slide, to remind you to many other benefits that Donau Soja membership can give you to connect, grow, and stay ahead. So joining Donau Soja means becoming part of the largest European soybean sustainability network, opening doors to the new business opportunities, stronger visibility, valuable market and regulatory insights, but also support in sustainability services. I would also use this opportunity to invite you to the biggest European community event. So this is in the 11th of June, Donau Soja General Assembly and networking event. I would also like now to thank you for attention and to give word and also screen to my colleague Milica Motika, who is expert in agricultural commodities and soybean supply chains, and she will present you the crop insights and Donau Soja solutions. Milica, you can start sharing the screen. Please just unmute you.
Hello from my side, Jovana. Am I sharing the wrong screen or let's do it one more time? It's fine. You see the presentation now?
Yes, everything is fine.
Okay, super. Just to like put here. Okay. Hello from my side. I'm glad to be part of this webinar alongside with my colleague. So I will throw you to our product and our services that we develop to support our partners to reach the goal regarding the EUDR implementation. I will be very quickly regarding the crop insight software, but I will want to highlight and support you through your question regarding how to implement, what to do, where I need to find support, and all these important questions that you are often asking self during implementation of EUDR. You see the slide, Jovana? I just want to check with you. It's
yes,
okay?
you're moving to the next. Yeah.
Okay,
All
great.
fine.
I will then maybe just briefly again remind you about EUDR and the one that maybe are not so familiar. What does the EUDR says and who is affected by EUDR? So it's affected all the traders, importers, exporters of soya in the EU market. So from the end of the year, EU companies must ensure that via due diligence process, the relevant products are sold and exported from the EU market, are deforestation-free, legally produced by country of origin, and traceable to the plot, including the geodata. So this is everything what is already published before 2-3 years. There is no change. So all of these three main like pillars need still to be achieved. After you checking all these requirements, then you are ready to submit due diligence statement before you put your product on the EU market. We are focusing today about soya, so it's a written which soya products are covered by EUDR, but it's also important to highlight this is relevant, of course, for EU companies, but it's also affected by non-EU companies who are exporting on the EU market. So if you're exporting or if you are in the non-EU countries, your supplier, your buyer from EU will requires you to do all this procedure before selling the product on the EU market. I will be very shortly about three-stage due diligence process. Again, there is no change. Still, we have three-stage due diligence process that the company needs to perform before they can state that the product is the EUDR compliant. First of all, is the data collection. So you need to assessing your supply chain complexity. You need to assess the risking of mixing with product from high-risk country or country where you don't know the sources. And if you see if there any kind of challenging or you cannot get information or you're not sure that information are right, then you need to do risk assessment. And if the risks are determined, you need to do risk mitigation. From our experience with the companies that we are working, there is like some challenging but it's a low country risk. I don't need to do risk assessment. I don't need to do risk mitigation. It's depending. Okay, you are sourcing from low risk country, but again, you need to take attention and to evaluate your supply chain and to see is there a risk or there is or the risk is manageable. Also, there is a lot of rumor about benchmarking countries for in this year. So they are promised. We are expecting maybe that the risk assessment of the country will be done, but I'm not sure. So our recommendation is that you are like. When you're finding where you're sourcing from, taking into consideration all countries as the maybe medium countries with the risk, and then let's wait to see what will be happen if there will be new benchmark of the countries. Again, I will highlight here that also if you are certified according to our Donau Soja Europe soya standard, or if you are sourcing from the company which are certified, then you are like on the good way because our standard are aligned with the EUDR. So already you have a positive start with these suppliers. So what I need to do, what is the key action for EUDR compliance, where to start, or like most of you already start and you have information, but let's again see what you need to do. First of all, you need to map your product scope. So you need to see which products and commodities fall under your EUDR, and you need to understand your position in the supply chain. So you need to understand, are you operator, are you a primary operator, are you downstream operator, or in some cases you are like operator, but in some cases you are downstream operator. So you really need to understand how you are like, where is your position. You need to assess your supply chain. You need to see where your raw materials originate, from which country, which is like risk for this country. You need to evaluate your supply chain complexity regarding segregation, regarding deforestation, and legality risk. Parallel with that, you need to start to build your documentation system and choose a compliance system. This is also what I want to highlight. When we're talking about EUDR, we are just talking about geolocation. This is not a good way of thinking. You need to collect geolocation, but EUDR is not about just collecting and checking geolocation. It's really to create your robust due diligence system. It's like you need to prove that your organization is ready, and EUDR needs to be like start of your daily work in your daily operation. So you need to have documentation system to prove that it's really what is written is really how you operate. In case that you will have some kind of control from a competent authority, you also need to send them and to prove them how you implement EUDR in your organization. So this means that you really need to build your documentation system and choose your compliance system. You need to collect supplier information, and this is most tricky, most challenging part is to gather geolocation data, legality data, traceability data, information about logistic and segregation, and this is taking a lot of time from our experience, and you need to ensure traceability to the plot of the production. After that, you need to do risk assessment, and if you determine that there is a risk, then you need to set up risk mitigation, and at the end of the process to submit due diligence before you are placing product on the EU market for the next year. I will just be very quickly about your compliance system. So Joanna already mentioned that we are like 15 years in soya. So we are working with our partners, our members regarding soya supply chain, and we know what is your problems and what is your challenging regarding legislation, regarding the EUDR. And then we create solution that we call crop insight solution, like end-to-end solution to be compliant with the EUDR. And our solution have 5 pillars. And first of all, you have interface with your suppliers for seamless collaboration. You can collect geolocation and check geolocation on deforestation. We have also land use change 20 years back possibility in the crop insight software, legality data, everything you can store in the crop insight software. I will explain you this later. And through the crop insight software, you can submit DDS without going to the traces. First of all, of course, you need to register in the traces, but everything can be done in one place. So I will just quickly through this software. So I will be happy to explain you more detail how the software is functioning, how it will help you, but this can be done in the individual separate meeting. But just for your overview, just a second. First of all, is interface with your suppliers. So you can engage your suppliers, you can onboard and educate multi-tier unlimited number of suppliers, and you have 2 possibilities. You can manage data for them, or they can do by themselves in the software. You will have overview at the glance, so insights in your supply chain and plots for each harvest year, and you have one platform to control over the total data management. This is just video which is starting, so this is how like our leading page is look like. The problem that the company is dealing with, especially in the non-EU countries, is like, for example, Serbia is missing the geodata, so they cannot collect the companies that doesn't have commas GeoJSON file. They doesn't know how to deal, how to convert, how to explain them. So we try to give the company possibility to have different kind of option in the software. So this is what we have. It's a multiple tools to capture plant boundaries and valid geodata. It's a super high accuracy in season plant boundaries. So we are using live satellite data. We are not using open data sources. This is very important to highlight. So, and you are ready to submit, preview, and edit geodata with accuracy. If you don't have GeoJSON, or if you don't have Kamala file, it's enough that you have 1 point or GeoCoordinate. So with the putting GeoCoordinate or one dot in the plot, software doing everything for you. They are creating the boundaries and they are checking deforestation status of each plot. So this service is highly supportive in case of local plot boundary data, large number of plots that we have, for example, in small countries for Serbia, that you have a different farmers with different small plots, and where it's very difficult to get these plot boundaries. If you have the GeoFiles that is not ready to use, so everything can be solved in the Crop Insight software. Also, what we have is the cadastral numbers. So currently it's option for Serbia, but we are developing other countries. So with the cadastral number of the plots, you can also get all information as like you put the GeoJSON or coordinates. I already mentioned that it's a flexible file import, so you have Kamala, shape GeoJSON. It's EUDR ready export, so with the software you can create GeoJSON, which is important for the traces, and you have detailed plotting sites with full information about the producer's GeoFiles. Also, we have deforestation. We have 20 years back analysis in the software. Sorry, someone need to mute microphone. Okay, it's a super accuracy of data. So there is no false positive result in the software because I already mentioned that we are using live satellite data. And also you have the plot boundaries of the plots with that detailed precise, because again, it's a challenging when you have the farmers with small plots, very difficult to determine where is the boundary of the plot. Regarding the legality data in the Crop Insight software, you have possibility to collect and store legality data from your suppliers. You can do this by the plot or by the suppliers, but everything is on one place and you can easily store and manage documentation. There is also option that your supplier can sign the legal compliance, the declaration of legal compliance, where he's confirming that he produced following the all rules and regulations described in the EUDR. And last but not least, regarding the software, it's a due diligence statement. So regarding due diligence, everything can be done by Crop Insight software. You can directly create the DDS and submit EUDR due diligence statement directly to the traces with API integration. You will have complete due diligence statement overview with listing the status of all DDS. You can fully manage of submitting DDS depending on the status. You can customize export, and what we are waiting for new technical documentation that needs to be published. I'm expecting July, August, with the technical documentation regarding the traces, how it will look like, with all the changes and everything that will be done. We will also integrate in our software, so we will follow what they will work and then do the same in the same changes in our software. So this was very shortly about the software. I know that you are here today to understand what is the changes about the EUDR, what is the new for you. And I just want to also inform you about our guidance advisory support. This is what we are really proud of, because we have a lot of experience about your challenging, and we see with our members and partners that they have often the question or they need the help and support. And this is the service development by us that we offering to navigate EUDR together to support you and help you. So here you will see the steps where we can support you. And this is the full packaging, but also you can choose the services or steps that you need support and you need the help. So we can help you to inform you which documentation, which procedure you need to have on your place. We can provide you step-by-step implementation guide and guidelines. This is a huge compressed documents where is really written what is the requirements of EUDR, how to implement, explanation, how to implement, where to implement, which sources you have. So really, you have the overview to see what you have, what you are missing, and what you need to do. Next point is the gap analysis. So together with the company, we are doing joint assessment of your processes, your operation, your procedure to see where you are already aligned, where you need to work, and this will be help you to set up your resources and your time to see how much work you have to be compliant. Of course, employee training for the EUDR relevant staff in your organization. General development procedure. This is also the sometimes the nightmare for the companies. For the huge company, they have a quality department, and it's maybe not, but the company is smaller, they don't have the quality department. They are struggling to write all this procedure, how to work regarding the EUDR. So we're really helping them and guide them in writing your operational procedure. We can also doing the quality check of documentation that you done by yourself, helping you with the supply chain risk assessment. This is want to highlight that we have our colleagues in the offices where soya is coming in Europe, and we really can support you in the supply chain risk assessment. We can also support you, for example, if you have supplier in Ukraine or in Serbia. Our colleagues can, in front of your name, to do training of your suppliers, education of your suppliers, or internal audit of your supply chain, for example, in Ukraine, in Moldova, in Serbia, Romania, and other countries. And of course, the last step is the internal audit support. So when you are setting up your EUDR process and procedure and everything, it's time to minimum one time period evaluate. Did you do a good job? And this is the part of the internal audit where we can also support you to be like on your side to see is everything set up and ready. I think this is my last slide, but this is your path to the EUDR to compliance. This is implementation timeline. So most of you already start to work regarding the EUDR, but this is like now we have, because they inform us that they will not be postponing of EUDR anymore. So this is like, it will start from the next year. Now we don't have so much time. So it's really time that you are start to preparing yourself. This is some timeline that is from our experience when we are working with the companies regarding guidance advisory service. First of all, you need to define scope and rules. You need to compliance system decision. This is a very important point that you really need to sit together, make decision there. You need to go in this process, determine how much resources you have, how much people you have, what you need to do. But it's really taking a time that you have clear way that you will go in the implementation, and it's taking a time. What is more challenging part, again, it's about supplier outreaching and outboarding of suppliers, because I put here 4 weeks, but it's taking a longer, because most of your suppliers, like some of them are ready, they're prepared, they will send everything you in one mail and you are happy with them. But there is like also suppliers, and probably you are aware, that are not start, they don't know where to start, but also the supplier which are not happy to provide you the data. So it's often that you need to send 1 email, 2 email, 3 email to call them, and it's not easy, but you need to collect this information. So this is taking a lot of time. And I'm recommending to you that you immediately start to try to inform your suppliers and collecting the all necessary information. In the meantime, till we are doing this process, informing your suppliers and asking them, you need to start to build your documentation system. So you need to see what you have in the place, what you have, also different standard that you already implement. You can use this documentation, you can upgrade this documentation, you can use you need to create additional documentation that you really can show to someone externally how you are working regarding the EUDR. And if everything is in line in this timeline before the harvest, you're ready. You're ready. You already start to collecting the information coming to you. You are starting to do risk assessment. And if you have any kind of risk indeterminate, then you are doing risk mitigation. And still you have a time to set up everything before December. And let's in December and November, like you are having everything and you're analyzing everything. And then you see what you additionally you need to do or you doesn't need to do. And you are ready to submit the DDS statement before first shipment or first selling on the EU market. I think this is everything from my side. I don't know if I'm on time. It's everything from my side, so I'm happy here to answer on your question. And also I'm happy to get in the direct touch with you regarding your question about the software and also about guidance advisory services. I will now stop sharing.
Thank you, Milica, for this comprehensive overview of crop insights and support we provide. So we are definitely here to make your life easier, as Milica explained, and to turn this regulatory complexity into these practical solutions. And also, as Milica highlighted, this is definitely your to prepare. So I'm handing now to my colleague Vladimir Pugachev from Donau Soja in Kiev to explain us what's new in EUDR and how these simplifications affects the soybean operators and soy supply chains.
Thank you, Jovana. Thank you, Milica, for this possibility. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, if somebody comes from different regions. For everyone, very happy to have you here and very happy to talk about complex topic as EUDR, especially for soya value chains. Many of you may know me for other webinars of Donau Soja, where we speak on market information, soya availabilities, and potentials for harvesting or sowing in Europe. As generally speaking, today we are talking about EUDR and what simplification means and what's the relevance for the simplification for soya operators. Let's talk about this and let's focus on this. Clearly, what we will start and from what I want to point at the beginning is that clearly regulation exists. It had some delays in the implementation, but still core requirements exist. They are quite ambitious, and as we can see, they can't be weakened. They can be weakening. Sorry, some issues with the screen, but we will fix it in a moment. Yep. I think it should be working now. Yep. Sorry, some technical issues. So again, what we see that EUDR continues its movement to the implementation. And clearly, we understand, as my colleagues already underlined, we understand soya value chains, we understand the soya market, and that's why we try to explain what to do with this for complex soya value chains. So clearly, what we can see on the slide is our timeline for the adoption. And what was important and what all industry was waiting for is these so-called simplifications that were published or had to be published in April, but were published on the 4th of May with a package of documents which gives much clearer directions for the industry. And also it shows us that the regulation really moves forward without any structural redesign of the regulation. Also, what we can see at this moment that the regulation will be the reality on 30th December for large and medium operators, and also from 30th of June for micro and small enterprises. Again, what I told, the simplification package, it did not structurally redesign this regulation. Simply the roles were clarified, some duplications were reduced, and some practical tools were implemented. This I'm going to talk today at this in my presentation. So again, my colleagues highlighted this, but let's again fix this. There are 3 criteria for market assess. This is core EUDR criteria. So first one, the product has to be deforestation-free, meaning not linked to any deforestation after the cutoff date of 2020. Secondly, this product has to be produced in the line with relevant regulation of the country of production, which means quite broader scope of the regulation, not just only the forest law, but many other regulations with land use rights, environmental rights, labor requirements, etc., etc. And the third one, the product has to be covered by a due diligence system and due diligence statement where it's required. So this is actually the step that connects the responsibility of the operator with the European Union informational IT system. What is important? So this is a graphic where EUDR becomes quite concrete for soya value chains. Clearly, that soybeans can be processed and traded in and out of the European Union as the processed product. Also, it can be stored, it can be traded several times, and therefore the physical product flow and the data flow, they have to be managed together in the operations. So clearly that it's not enough to collect farm data once, as the data can be lost in the value chains. So here what we have the due diligence reference numbers that must remain connected to all material or clearly defined product flows. Here's what is also important for understanding what was in the simplification package and how this can be implemented for soya value chains is responsibility. So what we can see, responsibility is concentrated around the first operator after this simplification package. And clearly, we all know that this is the actors that first places or exports the relevant product on European Union market or from the European Union market. And this, you can see on the screen several obligations for the first operator, like collect, origin, geodata, verification of deforestation-free status and legality, commitment of all due diligence procedure, assessment mitigation risk. This is quite big overview or high-level overview of what my colleague Milica was explaining in details during her presentation and also during the presentation of guidance and advisory services and crop insight services. So this is mainly now simply as a resume of this side. This is mainly now concentrated these responsibilities upstream the value chain. And again, EUDR is about the process. It's not only about collection documents, but it's the process. So again, to highlight what Milica was talking about, that due diligence is a process and it's 3 connected operational steps, where the first one is clearly building the information gathering, which can include, you can see examples of the data on the screen. But the second step, clearly, it's risk assessment, which should start from the country risk assessment and continues with the supplier risk, mixing risk, etc., etc., etc. And only after that process and only after the risk mitigation steps, if they have to be done, the operator submits due diligence statement. Again, what we can see in the simplification package, and as we already started to talk about different risk levels, this is country risk levels. Also, it was presented by Milica, but really very strong message what we see in the simplification package. There is no separate negligible risk category. So still, low-risk countries, assessment can be done lighter, but still information is necessary to collect. This is especially relevant for European soya value chains. So clearly, even if it's a low risk, companies should not interpret this risk as we do not need to do something. It's not exception from traceability. It's not exception from data collection. So still, actions has to be done, and the process has to be done. Again, what I told from the beginning, the simplification of the regulation, the simplification package, it doesn't reduce the ambition, what we can see from the European Commission, and the ambition, what was put it in the EUDR regulation. So clearly, which is non-negotiable in this simplification package is deforestation-free production, compliance with relevant national legislation, it's traceability to the plot, it's clearly understanding the geolocation data in different formats and different points, but still it is. It has to be verified linking between the product and origin of the product. Clearly, no additional mass balance or no mass balance mixing with unknown or non-compliant origin. And as we already talked about this, it's the responsibility which is concentrated upstream to so-called first operator. And now let's talk about what simplifications in the implementation of the regulations we see. So clearly some overlapping implementation questions, they were reduced. As I already told, the simplification package did not change the direction of overall regulation, but it gives some additional hints of how the system should work. It gives more clear roles of downstream operators and traders. Also, understanding of micro and small primary operations, and more hints on how the information system will be operated in the future. Also, it classified some product scope, but as we today talk about soya and soya value chains, the product scope for soya did not change. It gave some possibilities, or it gave a hint on some possibilities to use certification systems further, but I will talk about this more concretely.
Again, just to remind you that we have just 1 minute more left, so yeah, just please, to speed it up and
okay. So let's see what simplification package contains. So this is several documents which European Commission assess that it has lowered the annual compliance cost. Let's see how it will be at the final end. Also, there is draft implementing act on the information system, which is under review of member states, and delegated act that changes the product scope with the feedback open till 1st of June. But again, for soya, nothing changes in the product scope and nothing changes in the code. So it's soybeans, it's soybean oil, it's soybean meal. You can see key simplifications that are confirmed in the simplification package. I already told about them. And what I promised to you to focus on possibility to use certification schemes. So the simplification package introduced possibility to use certification schemes repository. So European Commission promises to create certification schemes repository where certification schemes can help you to be compliant with EUDR together with other tools and together with other guidance and advisory services already mentioned by my colleagues. And my colleague Giovanna already presented our possibility of our certification scheme, Europe Soya Standard, which has some positive sides and can turn your compliance into further market credibility and simplify your compliance with European Union regulation. My contacts on the screen under the QR code. So just in case you have any specific questions for EUDR or specific questions for the region Eastern Europe and Ukraine as one of the biggest soya producing regions in Europe, please feel free to contact me. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Vova, also for shedding the light on what EUDR means for soy operators. Also, as we heard, no matter if you are maybe belonging to the low risk category, low risk does not mean no risk. So even if you're in low risk classification, still responsibility and the legal obligation remains on your shoulders. Unfortunately, we are run out of the time. We had a lot of questions in the chat, but also some questions that we received while you were registering to this webinar. So we'll get back to you directly, and if you don't mind, contact you bilaterally to explain everything in details. Before we close this meeting, I would just also like to use the opportunity to invite you one more time to Donau Soja annual event. It's a meeting place where European soy community meets to reconnect, exchange, and stay informed. So come and join us in Vienna, and spend some time in beautiful Vienna. Thank you also for being with us today. And the tools are here. Momentum is with us. So start your deforestation journey with us today and ensure that your business is well prepared for the future. Thank you.